The no call heard round the world. January 20th, 2019. The NFC Championship game. The New Orleans Saints and the Los Angeles Rams are tied 20-20 with under 2 minutes to play. The Saints have the ball, and a first down will effectively end the game. Drew Brees throws a pass to Tommy Lee Lewis near the sideline. Before the ball arrives, Rams cornerback nickel Roby Coleman plows into Lewis, delivering a helmet-to-helmet hit so blatant, so obvious, that everyone in the stadium, everyone watching at home, knew it was pass interference. Everyone, that is, except the referees. No flag was thrown. The Saints were forced to kick a field goal, leaving time on the clock for the Rams to tie the game and eventually win in overtime. It was a no call so egregious, so game-altering, that it is widely considered the worst referee mistake in NFL history. It robbed the Saints of a trip to the Super Bowl, sparked a league-wide firestorm of controversy, and led to a one-year experiment with replay review for pass interference, which was a complete disaster. The no call was a black eye for the NFL, a moment that will live in infamy, and a wound that will never fully heal for the city of New Orleans. The Tuck Rule, the call that launched a dynasty. Before Tom Brady was the GOAT, he was a second-year quarterback trying to lead the New England Patriots to an improbable playoff victory over the Oakland Raiders in a blizzard. With the Patriots trailing by 3 late in the fourth quarter, Raiders cornerback Charles Woodson blitzed and appeared to strip-sack Brady, with the Raiders recovering the fumble to seal the game. But the referees, after a lengthy review, invoked the now infamous Tuck Rule, which stated that if a quarterback's arm is moving forward, even if he's trying to tuck the ball back into his body, it is an incomplete pass, not a fumble. The call was technically correct by the letter of the law, but it was a rule that few people knew existed, and one that defied all common sense. The Patriots, given a second life, tied the game and won in overtime, launching a dynasty that would span 2 decades and 6 Super Bowl titles. The Raiders, on the other hand, were left to wonder what might have been. The Tuck Rule was abolished in 2013, but its legacy lives on as one of the most controversial and consequential calls in NFL history, a call that changed the course of 2 franchises and the entire league. Dez Caught It, the catch that wasn't. January 11th, 2015, the NFC Divisional Playoffs. The Dallas Cowboys are trailing the Green Bay Packers 26-21 with under 5 minutes to play. On 4th and 2, Cowboys quarterback Tony Romo heaves a deep pass to Dez Bryant, who makes a spectacular leaping catch over a Packers defender and takes 3 steps before lunging for the end zone. It was a play that looked for all the world like a game-winning touchdown. But the referees, after a review, overturned the call, citing the NFL's convoluted and controversial catch rule, which required a receiver to maintain control of the ball throughout the process of going to the ground. The ball, which had briefly popped out of Bryant's hands as he hit the ground, was ruled incomplete. The Packers took over on downs and ran out the clock, ending the Cowboys' season in heartbreaking fashion. The Dez Caught It game became a rallying cry for fans who were fed up with the NFL's confusing catch rule, and it was a major catalyst for the league to finally simplify the rule in 2018. But for Cowboys fans, the memory of that overturned catch will forever be a painful reminder of what could have been. The Fail Mary, the replacement ref's last stand. In 2012, the NFL was in the midst of a labor dispute with its regular referees, forcing the league to use replacement officials. The results were disastrous, culminating in one of the most bizarre and controversial endings to a game in NFL history. On the final play of a Monday Night Football game between the Green Bay Packers and the Seattle Seahawks, Seahawks quarterback Russell Wilson threw a Hail Mary into the end zone. Seahawks receiver Golden Tate and Packers safety M.D. Jennings both went up for the ball, and it appeared that Jennings had intercepted it, but one referee signaled a touchdown, while another signaled a touchback. After a chaotic review, the officials ruled it a touchdown for the Seahawks, giving them a 14-12 victory. The The Fail Mary was the final straw for the NFL. The public outcry was so immense that the league and the regular referees reached a new labor agreement just 2 days later. The replacement refs were gone, but the memory of their most infamous call would live on forever, a symbol of a bizarre and embarrassing chapter in NFL history. Bottlegate, the day the fans fought back. December 16, 2001. The Cleveland Browns are fighting for a playoff spot and need a win against the Jacksonville Jaguars. Trailing by 5 with just over a minute to play, Browns quarterback Tim Couch appears to complete a 4th-and-1 pass to Quincy Morgan to keep the drive alive. Couch, thinking the play is over, spikes the ball to stop the clock. But the referees, after a lengthy delay, decide to review the catch, even though the rules at the time stated that a play could not be reviewed after the next play had begun. The officials, claiming they were buzzed by the replay booth before the spike, overturned the catch, giving the ball to the Jaguars and effectively ending the game. The Browns fans, who had been pelted with questionable calls all day, erupted in a shower of beer bottles, raining down on the field in a scene of pure chaos. Bottlegate was a black eye for the NFL, a moment when the fans' frustration with the officiating boiled over in a dangerous and unprecedented way. It was a day that will forever live in Cleveland sports infamy, a symbol of a team and a city that had finally had enough. The Holy Roller, the fumble that wasn't. September 10, 1978. The Oakland Raiders are trailing the San Diego Chargers 20-14 with just seconds left on the clock. Raiders quarterback Ken Stabler, about to be sacked, fumbles the ball forward. The ball is then batted and kicked forward by 2 other Raiders players before being recovered in the end zone for a game-winning touchdown. The play, which became known as the Holy Roller, was so bizarre, so unprecedented, that the referees didn't know what to do. They ultimately ruled it a touchdown, giving the Raiders a 21-20 victory. The Chargers were robbed, and the NFL was so embarrassed by the play that they created a new rule in the offseason, making it illegal for an offensive player other than the fumbler to advance a fumble on 4th down or in the final 2 minutes of a half. The Holy Roller was a moment of bizarre genius, a play that was so wrong it was right, and a play that will forever be remembered as one of the most controversial and game-changing moments in NFL history. The Immaculate Reception, the catch that defied physics. December 23, 1972, the AFC Divisional Playoffs. The Pittsburgh Steelers are trailing the Oakland Raiders 7-6 with just 22 seconds left on the clock. On 4th and 10, Steelers quarterback Terry Bradshaw throws a desperation pass that is deflected by a Raiders defender. The ball, which seems destined to fall incomplete, is miraculously scooped up by Steelers running back Franco Harris just inches before it hits the ground. Harris then rumbles into the end zone for a game-winning touchdown. The Immaculate Reception is one of the most famous and most debated plays in NFL history. Did the ball hit the ground? Did it touch another Steelers player first, which would have made it an illegal catch at the time? The referees, after a long deliberation, ruled it a touchdown, giving the Steelers their first ever playoff victory and launching a dynasty that would win 4 Super Bowls in the 1970s. The play remains a source of controversy to this day, a moment of divine intervention or a lucky bounce, depending on who you ask. The Phantom Catch, the touchdown that never was. In 1975, the Washington Redskins, now Commanders, were in a tight playoff race with the St. Louis Cardinals. In a crucial late-season matchup, the Cardinals were trailing the Redskins with time winding down. Cardinals quarterback Jim Hart threw a pass to receiver Mel Gray in the end zone. Gray appeared to trap the ball against his body, and the ball clearly hit the ground. But the referee, in a moment of inexplicable confusion, signaled a touchdown. The Phantom Catch gave the Cardinals a victory that would ultimately propel them to the playoffs and send the Redskins home. It was a call so bad, so obviously wrong, that it has become a part of NFL lore, a symbol of the human error that can sometimes decide the fate of a season. The coin toss that wasn't the Thanksgiving Day fiasco. November the 26th, 1998, Thanksgiving Day. The Pittsburgh Steelers and the Detroit Lions are headed to overtime. The referee, Phil Luckett, asks Steelers running back Jerome Bettis to call the coin toss in the air. Bettis clearly calls tails, but Luckett, in a moment of utter confusion, announces that Bettis called heads. The coin comes up tails, and Luckett, sticking to his initial incorrect announcement, awards the ball to the Lions. The Lions would go on to kick a game-winning field goal on their first possession, and the Steelers, who were in the thick of a playoff race, would go on to lose their final 5 games of the season, missing the playoffs. The coin toss fiasco was a bizarre and embarrassing moment for the NFL, a reminder that even the simplest of procedures can go horribly wrong. The forward progress that wasn't. The fumble that should have been. January 22, 2012, the NFC Championship game. The San Francisco 49ers and the New York Giants are tied 17-17 with under 3 minutes to play. Giants running back Ahmad Bradshaw takes a handoff and is immediately hit by 49ers linebacker Navarro Bowman, who strips the ball loose. It's a clear fumble, and the 49ers recover, putting them in position to kick a game-winning field goal. But the referee, in a moment of premature officiating, blows the whistle, ruling that Bradshaw's forward progress had been stopped. The play was not reviewable, and the Giants, given a second life, would go on to win the game in overtime. The call was a devastating blow to the 49ers, who were on the verge of a Super Bowl appearance. It was a reminder that in the NFL, a play is not over until the whistle blows, and sometimes, even then, it's not over. The kicker who cried. Wolf, the flop that decided a playoff game. January 11, 2003, the AFC Divisional Playoffs. The Tennessee Titans and the Pittsburgh Steelers are in overtime. Titans kicker Joe Nedney misses a potential game-winning field goal, but the referees throw a flag calling the Steelers for running into the kicker. Replays show that the contact was minimal, and that Nedney, in a moment of theatrical genius, flopped to the ground to draw the penalty. The referees, who are supposed to protect kickers but not reward them for acting, fell for it. Nedney was given a second chance, and he drilled the game-winning field goal, sending the Titans to the AFC Championship game. The flop was a black eye for the NFL, a moment that rewarded a player for deceiving the officials, and a call that will forever be a source of bitterness for Steelers fans. The hold that wasn't. The Super Bowl call that sparked a debate. Super Bowl LVIs? The Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles are tied 35-35 with under 2 minutes to play. The Chiefs are facing a 3rd and 8, and Patrick Mahomes throws an incomplete pass, but a late flag comes in, and Eagles cornerback James Bradberry is called for holding Juju Smith-Schuster. The penalty gives the Chiefs a first down, allowing them to run down the clock and kick a game-winning field goal with just seconds remaining. The call was technically correct. Bradberry did briefly tug on Smith-Schuster's jersey, but it was a call that is rarely made in that situation. A call that many felt was too ticky-tack to decide a Super Bowl. The debate raged for days. Was it a legitimate penalty, or a case of the referees inserting themselves into the game at the worst possible moment? Bradberry himself admitted after the game that it was a hold, but that did little to quell the controversy. The call was a perfect example of the fine line that referees walk, and a reminder that sometimes, even when they get it right, they still get it wrong. The mystery of the missing offsides. The Super Bowl blunder. Super Bowl 40. The Seattle Seahawks are trailing the Pittsburgh Steelers 14-10 in the third quarter. The Seahawks have the ball, and on a crucial 3rd and 6, quarterback Matt Hasselbeck throws a pass that is intercepted by the Steelers. But replays clearly show that Steelers linebacker Clark Haggans was offsides on the play. The referees missed it, and the interception stood. killing a promising Seahawks drive and shifting the momentum of the game. The missed offsides call was just one of several questionable calls that went against the Seahawks in that game, a game that many Seattle fans still believe was stolen from them. The officiating in Super Bowl 40 was so bad that it led to a public apology from the NFL, a rare admission of fallibility from a league that prides itself on the integrity of its game. The day the music died, the forward pass, that wasn't. January 8, 2000, the AFC wildcard playoffs. The Tennessee Titans are trailing the Buffalo Bills 16-15 with just 16 seconds left on the clock. On the ensuing kickoff, Titans tight end Frank Wycheck throws a lateral across the field to receiver Kevin Dyson, who then sprints 75 yards for a game-winning touchdown. The play, which became known as the Music City Miracle, was one of the most exciting and improbable endings to a game in NFL history. But was it legal? The referees reviewed the play for what seemed like an eternity, trying to determine if Wycheck's lateral was a forward pass. The replay was inconclusive, and the call on the field stood. The Titans won, and the Bills were left to wonder what might have been. The Music City Miracle remains one of the most controversial plays in NFL history, a play that was so close, so improbable, that it will forever be debated.